The time has come. Now we are down to South Africa and Puerto Rico. Only one of you can be crowned our new Miss Universe. If for any reason the winner is unable to fulfill her duties, the first runner-up will take her place. Good luck to you both. The new Miss Universe is South Africa.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Miss Universe.
Wow.
So excited.
Zozibini Tunzi is here. Zozibini Tunzi is here from South Africa. I sat and watched this.
Did you watch the pageant?
I watched the pageant. You know, a lot of this pageant game has been changing, and I wanted to see if it stayed consistent. We was talking about how many women of color are capturing these crowns now all across the board, and this is the first time that we've seen just a total takeover on the crowns, and you sealed the deal with Miss Universe. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
From South Africa. This is my sister, Heather B. Don't we? You see the similarities? Look how beautiful she is.
You do look South African.
Talk to him, Zozi. Talk to him. Can I call you Zozi?
Yes, you can.
Okay. This is really great to have you here. I think you're very powerful. You're a model, obviously, but I call you an activist as well. You know, just by your actions and your ways. You Miss South Africa. And here's the thing, you weren't always Miss South Africa. You know that you've entered this contest before.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did it once before, back in 2017.
Yeah.
And I made it into the semifinals, and then I never really made it through, you know, the whole competition. And then I came back 2 years later, and then I won. And then now I'm Miss Universe. How crazy is that? That's just crazy.
But there's a lesson in that, right?
Yeah,
you know, there's a moral to that story. What is
course.
it? What is it? What was it for you?
You know, I always tell people, because they ask me, like, why would you go back after they rejected you the first time? And my thing was, it's not that I wasn't good enough. It's just that it wasn't my time. You know, everyone has their time. The girl who won that year had to win. And I think had I won that year, nothing I'm doing now or the way that I am now would have been a thing. And I had to win for a time such as this. I mean, you did say we have about 3 women of color, and then I joined and I'm the 4th one. It was supposed to be now, because now is our time, you know?
Yes.
And so I think that's why I was just like adamant on coming back, because I had a message. I had a message back then, and I still had it now, and I needed a platform to be able to speak my mind and speak about the things that I'm passionate about, and things that I feel are important in the world and people need to hear about.
Yeah, and one of those things that you said when you were asked a question, and you spoke about girls who look like you all around the world, is this.
All right, here we go, South Africa. Here is your question. What is the most important thing we should be teaching young girls today?
I think the most important thing we should be teaching young girls today is leadership. It's something that has been lacking in young girls and women for a very long time, not because we don't want to, but because of what society has labeled women to be. I think we are the most powerful beings on the world, and that we should be given every opportunity, and that is what we should be teaching these young girls, to take up space. Nothing as important as taking up space in society and cementing yourself.
Oh my gosh, that right. I got chills watching you say this, because I have a daughter.
Yeah.
You know, I have a young daughter, and I truly believe one day she will rule the world and lead the world. And I think the world needs new leadership. And I think that new leadership is in the form of you.
I absolutely agree with you. You know, I did say it's not that women are not capable. I mean, give women a chance and they can literally do anything. It's just that we grew up in a society where, you know, the man is the head of the family, and your job as the woman is to submit yourself and, you know, to not have dreams and ambitions. And I did say that it's not because we don't want to that we can't. It's just the way it has always been. And I feel if we start instilling it in young girls, that when they're still very young, then they grow up to be the women that we really need as leaders in the future. So start there instead of teaching boys confidence, because that's what we do. You know, young boys are taught confidence and to take up space. If you have a little girl and a boy entering a room, a boy enters the room, you know, much confident than a young girl. And for me, I think that really needs to change. You need to start grooming them young so that by the time, you know, they're able to step up into leadership positions, they're not scared of being leaders, because I think we're scared of being called mean. You know, you're called aggressive if you're a leader as a woman, and as opposed to leaders or as men. When you're a man, they're gonna say, "Oh, he's so firm and he's really good at it." But if you're a woman, you know, you get called names if you're powerful. And I want us to stop being scared of that power, embrace it, you know, and step up into all of these spaces and occupy, man.
I want, you know, when I hear you say it too, and I'm thinking as you talk, I want men to stop being scared of that power. You know what I mean? To step aside, you know, get out of the way of that, and see, because we've been screwing it up. You know, and we're missing out on a lot of information a lot of times when we suppress these voices. And so I'm willing to follow you in that crown wherever you go on this planet.
Thank you.
I mean, she walked in the room with the crown. Did you sleep with the crown?
I wanted to. I don't know.
You're from a small village, right?
Yes, I am.
Is it called Solo? What is it called?
Solo.
Solo.
Oh, I'm impressed.
Yeah, come on. You know I'm South African. I hang out with AKA Casper, Questa, Nasty C's my little nephew.
You know, I've seen all of them on the show before, which is, I think was quite cool.
Oh, you watched the show?
Of course I do. I mean, come on.
Stogie T, everybody.
I saw Stogie T in there. I saw everyone.
Yeah, Zozi is a citizen.
Sway in the morning, baby. That's so fly. All right. Zozi, I wanted to ask you, because I mean, a lot of people in the room don't know. I actually saw you in the hallway. You weren't, and I was just like blown away by your sense of style. I know as Miss Universe, you have people and hair, but I can tell a person that has style way before a title that comes with it. Where did you get your sense of style from?
My mom. Oh, my mom and my big sister. They are very, very huge on fashion and clothes. And I kind of grew up not caring about that stuff. But I think, you know, as I became of age, it became important to me as well. Because how you present yourself on the outside, you know, people take you seriously even before you say anything. So it's important for me to dress to impress before I can actually say anything.
Yeah, she turned the corner, Sway. I just started clapping. I was like, whatever you doing, girl.
She did. She did.
Shut my little Tupac sweatshirt down.
Your pocket looks good, Heather.
Okay.
Yeah. Going back into the conversation about women in leadership positions, which I fully agree on. I also think that as a whole, women and men should learn to embrace the natural characteristics of women, to see them as leadership qualities. Because I see a lot of women, including myself, it can happen. You get burnt out trying to replicate a man instead of embracing your natural femininity and the power that can come from that. Can you speak to that?
You know, I absolutely agree. You know, we don't have to be each other. Yes. Instead, I think we can learn from each other. I like, you know, someone once asked me, what do you think men can learn from women and women can learn from men? And I said, you know, I think men can learn from women to be much kinder in their approach, you know, to be much softer. And here's my thing. When I say soft, people think I mean weak. Right. And that's two different things. I mean, you can show kindness and be soft while still being a leader at it. And I said women can learn, you know, from men how to, like I said, take up space and be a little bit arrogant about it and, you know, step up. And so I absolutely agree with you. When we say women must lead, we're not saying women must replicate themselves into men. We're different for a reason. Yes. You know, that's why we're men and women. We're not saying let's become each other, but we're saying embrace what you have, embrace your softness and your kindness, because that on its own can be a form of beautiful, you know, leadership.
Amen.
Yeah, so absolutely agree with that.
Miss Universe is here, Mike Muse. You've been smiling the whole time she walked in the room. And you want to say something to her?
Yeah, man. I've been excited knowing you were coming here. You were fantastic.
Thank you so much.
At the competition. You made everyone proud. And we've just been talking and texting amongst ourselves about you. I think what made your win so interesting is that the pageantries is changing, right? In this age of women being redefined for empowerment, right? And what does pageantry means and what does a title like Miss Universe mean? And for you to really focus on leadership is so pivotal because they always come from this esoteric world peace, right? World hunger. There's nothing wrong with that. We should all fight for that. But you came from a very practical perspective of leadership. How do you want to transform not just your platform and things you want to do with that, but transform what it means to have the title as Miss Universe, right? And what pageantry can really do to impact practical change in the world.
For me, I like to say a platform and a title is what you make of it. And for me, I feel like it's such a huge platform, and it's my responsibility to use it responsibly. And being practical about it, for me, I think it's an awareness job for me. My biggest job is to scream as loud as I can so that everyone can hear my message. And I think by being an empowered woman myself, by being fearless and chasing my dreams myself, and by standing, by my word and doing the things that I say I will do, that on its own is a part of being practical about it and saying it's possible and, it can be done. And, we have things like schools for leadership, like Oprah Winfrey had one. Maybe let's try opening up more. Let's be practical about it. Let's just not speak about it. Have big corporations, open up schools, open up opportunities for young girls. I mean, have scholarships. Offer them to young women who maybe might not be able to afford these kinds of things. So I think that's the practical things that we really can do. And I'm more than happy to stand in my platform and just challenge people to try and do these things. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, I love it, man. Zozi is here, Tunzi is here. When I go to, I've been to a few places in Africa, but I went to South Africa a couple months ago. I had the time of my life. It's the best travel I ever had.
It's amazing there, right?
Oh, you got to go.
Beautiful.
And I felt a natural connection that I was hoping to feel. I know a lot of people say when you land in Africa, if you're African in America, when you land in Africa, and Burner Boy taught me to stop saying I'm African American, just say I'm African.
Just say you're African.
Living in America. And I get that. But I often have these discussions where folks from over there or folks from over here perpetuate a divide, like there's not a natural hereditary connection between us over here and folks over there. We've all taken different journeys. Of course, that slave trade, it's not the only way we came to the Americas. Even before that, Africans were traveling over here to the Americas. What can we do to improve, you think, or what ways can we improve communication between folks who are in the continent of Africa and folks that are over here? Because I think if we combine our resources, if we combine our powers, there's nothing that we cannot do. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for me, I was on Twitter this other day, and there was some fight happening, between African Americans and South Africans about a name. I think someone made fun of Doja Cat's African name, and it was like such a huge thing, and people were fighting. And I thought to myself, I wish we could realize that we're more alike than different. Because if we started realizing that, then maybe, we could get to a space where we could all start working together and building, like you just said. Because we're really just the same. It's just the same thing. And I think it's a matter of misunderstanding each other, just like any other war, if that's a word to use in the world. Any miscommunication in the world has happened because people refuse to understand each other. People refuse to be educated about each other and to learn about each other. And I feel if we sit down as people and try to understand where people come from, why do African Americans feel the way that they do? Why do they not want to connect, to Africa? Why do Africans feel the way that they do about, African Americans? And maybe from there, if we start having that conversation, then maybe we can know how to move forward. But before we can actually sit down and talk about it, there's no way to move forward, because all we'll continue doing is fighting. I say we're more alike than different. Let's find those likeliness things that we have and see where we can move from there.
Yeah, those commonalities are incredible. You know Sway, who used to work at MTV Base. C's is a good friend of mine, and he was taking me to all of these different spaces in South Africa, and I blended in like it was Oakland, California. And people literally, I always say this, said, man, I thought you were from here. And the conversation, the culture, fashion, the fashion in South Africa is years ahead of everybody else. So I promise you, I looked horrible, and I had my best shirt on. So I definitely agree. And then the cultural experience, like when I speak with a Casper Noivest or someone like that, and or Stogie T, what did you grow up on? I listened to the Roots, I listened to Jay-Z, I listened to Tupac, and we're pulling from the same sources for power and understanding. But we still had
we still have a misunderstanding.
We still have Miss Universe is here, but this is a part of it. Miss Universe is on Sway in the Morning, and we're starting this conversation.
She's in Sway's universe.
Okay,
in Sway's universe. I saw that.
I saw you look at it like, I'm trying to steal from my life. All right, we got people on the line. They want to talk with you. Jay from Charlotte. Good morning. How you doing?
What up, Jay?
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
Doing great, man. Miss Universe is here. Go for
it. Hey, Miss Universe. I just want to let you know that I am. Hey, oh wow. Hey, I am so honored and proud to actually speak to you. And you make my daughters feel so strong, so much stronger about it. Everything you said and your hairstyle, your beauty, everything about you is awesome. And I just want to let you know. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I feel like I won it. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so happy he said that about his daughter, because I mean, when you speak, you're only hoping that someone's listening, you know, because it really is that growing up, opening magazines and not being able to see women who looked like me, you know, in a way it makes you feel like, do I have a space in this world? Do I really matter? And I think we need to understand how important inclusion and representation is, and it's something that's been ignored for a very long time. You know, even amongst the black community itself, we have things like colorism, you know, the further away your skin is from being light, you know, the uglier you are, the further you are away from beauty. And I mean, it's things that we might think are very small, but as a young girl, it does something to you and your confidence and what you want to offer to the world. And so I felt like I had to say that. I had to say, you know, I grew up in a society where a woman like me was never believed to be beautiful because of my kind of skin and my kind of hair. It didn't matter what I had to offer to the world just because you looked at me and you dismissed me. And I love that he said that about his daughter, because I want, you know, the future generation to grow up in a world, you know, that's more open and wanting to accept different people.
We're seeing that now, and you're a living manifestation of that. And then also, we also have to accept ourselves. And, you know, first, and then the world will follow.
And then the world will follow.
But I'm more concerned about us accepting ourselves initially. Kevin, what up? Kev's in Maryland.
Hey,
Kev, what up?
Hey, what's going on? This is my first time calling.
That's what's up, man. And Miss Universe is here. This better be a good question. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, definitely. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. And so me and my friends were just like talking the other day, and we're like, how beneficial like the continent of Africa is in resources, and what if like modernizing like the entire continent, it could be like the next America. Like, what do you think about that, or has that ever been brought to your mind before?
Yeah, of course. I think we are full of so much resources in South Africa and in Africa as a whole. Not only just, you know, natural resources, but resources in people as well. I think we have some of the greatest people in the world. And I think we just still need to find a way to make use of those resources, to make sure that we rise. And I do feel like it's happening, you know. I do feel like Africans are rising. Africa has always had so much to offer, and I'm just so happy that the world is finally seeing it as well, and not just us, you know. And I agree with you 100%. We are a resourceful continent.
Okay, Miss Universe is here. Hold up, we only have one more minute with her, and I wanted to do this mystery sack that we prepared for you real quick, as all Miss Universes who have visited Sway in the Morning in the past have done. Okay, here it is.
Go ahead and reach in.
Oh, dig deep, dig deep.
Put your hands into Sway's sack.
All right.
It's Sway's Mystery Sack on Shade 45.
Not for Miss Universe, damn. You gotta mute that out. All right.
Zozi, all you have to do, you're gonna do 3 questions. Pick one at a time.
Oh no, it feels
Read
like
it
a
out.
pageant all over again.
Read it out loud. You have to answer honestly.
What's the meanest thing you've ever done to someone to get back at them?
She cracking up.
No, this is funny. It has to be to one of my sisters, I'm sure, but I just have to pull one out because there's so many. Wow, what's the meanest thing? I think I hid one of my sister's socks before she had to go to school, and she was late for about a good hour. And I think she got punished for it at school, which made me, feel really good.
That's funny. Wow. Question number 2.
That's hilarious.
That's amazing.
If it were 200 degrees outside and you could cool off in a pool full of ice cream, which flavor and toppings would you go with? Why does that matter?
If it was 200 degrees, you'd be dead.
Like, why does the toppings matter? I mean, which flavor? I'd probably go for chocolate.
Okay.
With
that's consistent.
With what toppings? Oh my. Those colorful 100,000 things that go on top. Yeah, sprinkles.
Okay. Chocolate with sprinkles.
What's the first question you'd ask God once touching down in heaven? Wow.
More like touching up.
Yeah, like, what's the first question you'd ask God once touching down in heaven? Where's the buffet?
The buffet? I'm dying.
It was a long journey.
I'm hungry.
Zozibini Tunzi, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Our new Miss Universe.
She's awesome.
Oh, what an incredible Miss Universe you are.
Yeah,
and please
man.
spread that information, spread that empowerment, spread that love, and keep representing us. We're all behind you, okay?
Yes, thank you so much.
And tell all our friends in South Africa I said what's up.
I will do.
Absolutely.